So speedsters, we are finally here with the penultimate episode of The Flash. Did it set up for a good finale? And it's just crazy even saying that it's a penultimate episode. Like one more episode of The Flash after this, and then that's it till October time, I guess. So let's break down The Flash Season 5, Episode 21, The Girl with the Red Lightning. What is up, speedsters? Welcome to a brand new Flash review. So this is my review for episode 21, the penultimate episode of season 5. And you know, this episode was good. I wouldn't say it's the best Flash penultimate episode out of all of the seasons. If anything, I just kind of, it felt like an average episode up until the very end, obviously. I mean, I couldn't call it exactly average because obviously these are the final stakes of the season, but maybe that's you know, repercussion of how interesting this kind of main villain storyline has been. But I'm not trying to take shots or anything. I'm just saying like it felt like an okay episode, if you know what I mean. I'm excited for the finale, you know, bearing in mind what happened at the very end. But you know, this is what this whole video is about, me reviewing and breaking down what I thought of the episode. So before I go ahead and do that, guys, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more Flash videos just like this. I will have my trailer breakdown for the finale up in a few hours time from when you're seeing this, and like this video if you do go on to enjoy it, as it really does show your support for the channel. So thank you very much if you do go ahead and do that. But let's talk about that first scene with Eobadius Thawne. So essentially Thawne's time has run out. Is finally come to a close. We've been wondering what that was all about all season. When was it going to run out? Because obviously Nora was literally traveling back in time, or sorry, should I say forward in time, just by matters of seconds between each visit every time she saw Thawne, up until the point where there was literally no time left by the time she last saw him. And in this episode we finally saw it run out. And you know, I love that line he said in terms of when the security guard came to him and said, you know, like, it's time to die. Basically it was just like, I guess time will tell, because as Ralph said, and I love the line in this episode from Ralph, like, man, Thawne's plans have got plans. It is so true. And this episode did a lot of foreshadowing, and just in terms of the Reverse Flash and Thawne, mainly coming from Ralph. We'll get to that as of when we get to that. Now, of course, everyone, at the same time, we had Cicada developing that cryo atomizer, whatever it's called. And by the way, people thought I was saying like cicada wrong, or like Cicada. I'm saying Sada, like as in Grace, or like, you know, into Grace-Sada, Grace-Sada. But I guess maybe you just want me to call her Cicada. I think that's what the show calls her, Cicada, or Cicada 2. I like Grace-Sada, Grace, Cicada, Grace-Sada. Moving onwards, yeah, essentially she saw her Uncle Orlin. He was essentially egging on Grace-Sada, basically trying to make it a whole worldwide banishment, well, extinction of metahumans. But at the moment in the episode, it went to the whole country. I think for now, I guess a grand plan would be to end the whole world of metahumans. I mean, for all we know, that could happen next episode. But also, guys, we also can't forget how Team Flash have that gun, like the mirror gun or whatever it was, that can essentially destroy the dagger, because they tested it out on the Starlab satellite core, which is basically the same material as the dagger, and it just went bye-bye. So I'm looking forward to the explanation to that if we do get one. But either way, we knew we had a way to stop the dagger this episode, even though at this point in the episode I thought, well, it's not like she needs the dagger. You know, that's been proven before. And we can't forget how all of the metahumans in Central City are at risk as well from this cryoatomizer dispersory kind of Curie kind of thing, which will kill them at the same time. So essentially Joe takes charge. I mean, first Cecile and Joe went to sing, and they, you know, he needed to go persuade people to let them do what they're doing. So in the meantime, Joe was in charge of making sure people got cured, or like were going to safety. It got a little bit out of hand. Well, what I really liked with regards to this story in the episode is that it kind of teases the future chief or Captain Joe of the CCPD, because as we know in the newspaper, it said something about, like, earlier on this season, Joe stepping down or retire. I can't remember from that position he's in way in the future, and this is our first taste of Joe taking on that pressure. And obviously he was quite nervous, but Cecile kind of brought him around, and you could see the guy this, you know, Detective Joe West is going to be one day, even though he's a badass cop anyway. It'll be interesting to see if before the Flash ends we kind of get Joe in that position. We had some nice moments between Renee and Sherlock this episode. He wanted to warn her about this whole, you know, thing going on this episode. We got to see her powers for the first time. At this moment as well, Nora was linked with Cicada, and Grace, like, saw her coming. You know, she tapped into the Nora side of things, and that's when Barry and Nora were running towards her, and she essentially knew, obviously, that this is XS she's looking through the eyes of, because then they just appeared seconds afterwards. Now, this is, I'm mentioning this because it's kind of important for a critique I have later. We did have Barry and Iris and Nora-esque drama, not massively this episode, just where they didn't really want to accessing what we just spoke about, Grace, because, even though that may be the key to finding out where she is or whatever, they don't want her in danger. But, that kind of gets resolved this episode with, we know you're our daughter, you're our daughter, but that doesn't mean you're a kid. So, you can be a hero. We've trained you to be a hero, so be a hero. And it's just like, well, yeah, exactly. But I do get the worry, obviously, because that is their daughter and they're worried about her. We also had some funny moments with Cisco and, like, Sebastian Ollins, because they needed that hyperconduit before Cicada got to it. And by the way, that was a really cool bomb scene where we saw the Flash running out because Cicada had already got to the hyperconduit. But, Cisco, just talking about being college roommates with this guy, definitely made me laugh. This is the humor I really appreciate. Subtle little moments of humor in the Flash. Now, I really loved Ralph this episode. He was very consistent, and I'm happy that he was consistent about keeping up with how something doesn't add up about Thawne. He really is poking at what happens in the timeline where Grace, like, never kills Dwyer. This is essentially all an explanation with regards to how Thawne wants to survive and how this new timeline and the timeline changes with Cicada this season probably fulfills that plan. And Ralph is just cottoning on to that, and it's just like, come on guys, we need to think about this. There's something else clearly going on here. And it's just a bit silly how Team Flash were just shooting him down. But at the same time, if that's a realistic scenario, maybe they're just thinking, why are we talking about Thawne when there's something really pressing here? Like, thousands of people might die, and yada yada yada. I do get it. I do get why Barry was kind of shooting it down and everyone else was, because I think some people are critiquing that. But if you're in the midst of all of that, as I just said, and somebody else is trying to poke at something else, I guess, you just can only lock on to the main thread, even though they should have listened to Ralph, because, yeah, end of the episode. Now, I want to talk about when Nora goes zappy zap zap. So essentially, she phased from Barry and Iris. I like how, like, Barry could kind of censor there. But anyway, moving onwards, she went into Cisco's workshop and tried to access Grace's mind again. And this is, like, one of the critiques I have of the episode, just because afterwards, when Barry, rescued kind of Nora from the zappy zap situation and maybe getting a bit too, carried away with it, they said the very specific line of, you could have given away our location, Nora. Now, the reason why I'm poking at this is because it doesn't add up to me personally. Essentially, Nora came back and said, yeah, oh, don't worry, I was like staring at the floor or whatever to not give away any telltale signs that it's Star Labs. But is everyone forgetting that Cicada, like, stormed into Star Labs, I believe in episode 16. She knows that's where the XS hangs out. She knows that's where the Flash hangs out. She knows that's where everyone hangs out. Or even if she doesn't know that for a fact or 100%, you could argue that in the past few episodes or whatever, she could have just gone there and wrecked them. She could have. Dagger or no dagger, she could have wrecked them at any point. As I said, even though she doesn't know it for a fact, the first thing she would do is think, oh, these guys are coming after me, especially when these two ran after me earlier on in the episode when, for example, we had Sherlock and Renee using their powers with Cicada there. She knows Flash and XS are still after her. So if she really wanted to, that she'd be like, okay, I need to go find them. Where's the first place I'd look? Oh, the place they were at before. Wait, wasn't that Star Lab? Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to massively nitpick that, but I'm just adding that in for context. So, for example, adding in the fact that when we had that moment when Barry and Nora were running towards Cicada because Sherlock and Renee were in danger, and Cicada knew that it was Nora running towards her because, she literally appeared seconds later and she saw her running towards her. But, do I really need to say any more? Because it's like later on in the episode as well. Grace says, Nora, I can't let you be doing that. And she also says, you in your Flash family. It's just like she knows where they are. So I don't get why Barry and Iris were like, you could have given away our location. It's just like she knows. But it's just, this is one of the writing flaws in the show. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong here. And I know a lot of people ignore this stuff just to, carry on the fun in the show. But I'm just saying Cicada knows that they're at Star Labs. Or at, a very big stretch, if you want to put it at this. If she wanted to go find the people who are trying to thwart her plan and make it go awry so, the world and metahumans are safe, the first place she would go to is Star Labs. Because she's been there before and that's where the heroes resided. So giving away our location is a bit... So we're basically more or less at the end of the episode now. So Cicada breaks into the CCPD and she essentially wants to take all of the dark matter from the metahumans to supercharge her dagger so she can put it in the hyperconduit, cryo-atomizer kind of thing and, basically rain hell against all metahumans. But another thing, I can't help but mention it when Ralph was just like, guys, she's waking up. Well, Ralph, I can just tell you, just knock her out. Like, then she would have been, you know, under for X amount of time. Okay, if you don't really want to do that, they could have done something else. Maybe Killer Frost could have frozen her hands there. Yes, sure, she could have broken out of that. But again, knock her out. Do anything. But okay, I'm not going to nitpick that. Let's carry on. So Cisco manages to basically stop the cryoatomizer from going off. And it seems that all is well until we see what is going on with Eobard Thawne, who is going to his execution, I guess you would say. And they take the chest plate off, and none other than Cicada's dagger is there. And Ralph is piecing this all together at the same time, and Barry is about to shoot the dagger, and that's when Ralph is like, don't shoot it, because if you do that, then the reverse flash will get out, because that dagger, I'm assuming, will do the typical Flash disappearing act, you know, just because it would cease to exist in that moment, I guess, since it got destroyed in the past. You could argue that time would take a little while to catch up, but inevitably it would disappear. So Thawne, instant powers, bang, probably break that security guard's neck. I bet he hates that guy after maybe 15 years of torturing him. So yeah, this is how the reverse flash gets out, guys, and I really, really like that. Now, of course, there is the question of how is this dagger in the future, like what kind of happened around that, mega specifically. I don't want to get too timey-wimey about that, because no matter what I theorize here, I could talk for 5 minutes about it, and it will probably be a different excuse from the Flash writers next episode. So I'm very intrigued to see what that is. So we were all right all along, guys. You know, we've all been saying that Thawne has a plan, but, you know, he also cares about Nora, which I believe too. Like, you know, attachment to Nora, just like how he got attached to Barry. But somebody did kind of point it out, you know, in my comment section, saying how, but technically he's only known Nora for a space of minutes, or however long it was that Nora was going between that timer, maybe an hour. So I don't know, maybe how attached could he get to her? I don't know. That's a very good point, because I thought he was, but really, how sentimental can you get about someone? You know, because he got sentimental about Barry in season 1, but that's because he watched this guy grow up over the whole course of his life, and he was just waiting, itching until he could create him into the Flash so he could get back to his own time. But Nora, it's only been an hour. So either way, guys, this episode was cool. It wasn't the best penultimate, as I said right at the beginning. I had a couple of issues, but that's more like writing. But as I said, that really does come with the flow of introducing timey-wimey-esque things. But I'm excited for the finale, definitely. Mainly because of the reverse Flash stuff. I am kind of done with Crusader. But anyway, let me know your thoughts on the episode down in the comments below, guys. Leave a like just to show your support for this channel. I really do appreciate it if you go ahead and do that. It takes 2 seconds of your time. If you want to talk with me directly, join my Discord server, because we can talk about the Flash there and all of these theories that we've spoken about in this very video. Other than that, there's social media links down there. But thank you so much for watching, Speedsters. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you, Flash family, in the next video, which will be the promo up in maybe 3-4 hours from now.